Hey, I'm LP, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to properly clean your lenses and your filters. So you want to make sure your lenses and your filters are perfectly clean, so that way you're getting the best image to your sensor. There are times where, some people will take like a filter and they'll like smudge it with like, like their forehead oil or whatever, or they'll put some grease or whatever on it to get like a special effect. Those are different circumstances, but for like everything else, you want it to be as clean as possible. Now, if you have some older lenses, like these lenses, my Leica R's are from the 70s, or if you're at like a rental house or something and you've got like old vintage lenses, sometimes they'll have like a bunch of like micro scratches on them. But I wouldn't worry about those. I mean, those, they just get there over time and they don't really affect your image at all. It's mostly like if you have like a big visible scratch, like if you can see it just by like briefly looking at it, then that's gonna be a problem. But if you once you get a flashlight on there, you'll see a bunch of little hairline or even thinner like micro scratches. Those, you don't really have to worry about those. So when you're cleaning a lens with, like some liquid spray cleaner, it's not something you want to do every time you pull out your lenses, because eventually you'll start to wear out the coating on the lens. So the coating, I would even say that the coating is just as important as the actual glass. And so if you're constantly cleaning for no reason, if there's nothing on there that you need to clean off, you're gonna start to wear away that coating. And then the lens is gonna start to look weird and it's gonna look off. Because that coating is important because it determines like the special look of the lens. And it also determines like the flares and the color of the flares. It even determines how much the lens will flare. And coatings are like, companies like, big secret on how they coat their lenses. So, you want to protect that coating as much as possible. One way to keep it so you don't even have to clean your lenses is to use an optical flat or a clear filter. So just put that in front on your matte box, or, if you have screw-ons, just screw it onto the front. And then that way you're protecting your lens from anything flying towards camera. So like if there's blood or water or dirt or whatever, you're gonna protect your lens and the other filters. Because the clear filters, that's what they're there for. They're just there to take the brunt of anything that comes and flies and hits the lens. So that way, you can pull it out and easily clean it. Or, if say like a small pebble or rock flies and hits that clear filter, it's just gonna break the clear and it's not gonna damage your lens, it's not gonna damage your ND or diffusion that you have in your matte box. So many times, lenses, they'll just collect dust. If I look at this one now in the light, there's just a little bit of dust on there. So, there's no reason to use this when I can just take some canned air or like a little, puffer and just, give it a little spritz. But when you're doing that, you want to take, whatever you're using, give it a spray. That way it clears out the tube of any debris or anything like that so it doesn't shoot it into the lens. So just give it a little quick spray and then you can spray your lens, and then now, it's nice and clean. There's no more dust on there. And you can do that for the front and the back elements. So there are times when you're gonna need to use, something like Pancro to clean your lens, like, somebody accidentally, palms the lens or gets a fingerprint on there in the front or the back. So you're gonna need to use, some Pancro and some Kim wipes. So I'll walk you through the stages on how to properly clean your lens. Okay, so first, what you want to do is get whatever you're using as your air to spray off dust. You want to clear off any particles that might be on there so you don't scratch the lens. So just kind of, take your air, give it a spray, and then get your Kim wipe. I like to fold it in half and then again. And then take your lens cleaning solution and give it a couple sprays so it's a little bit damp. And then take it and then start in the center of the lens and then move in a circle outwardly towards the edge. You can do that, and then if there's a little bit of residue, you can take it and fold it the other way so it's more of a drier side and just give it a little wipe. And there, it's clean. And sometimes a little bit of particles come off here and you can just give it a little spray. And then there, your lens is perfectly clean. Sometimes, there may be a little bit of residue left or like a smudge if you put a little too much, spraying liquid. What you can do is just take a microfiber cloth, a lens cloth. I like to have one of these spuds in my pocket all the time when I'm on set. And then you can just take it and just do the same motion and just kind of take off any smudges that might be left from the spray. So now let's say you didn't have a clear in front of your lens, maybe something unexpected that happened on set, where something gets splashed onto the lens and maybe it's a little bit sticky, or it leaves a residue. So what you want to do is you may have to take your spray and then directly spray it onto the lens, on the front element of the lens, and then let it sit there for a second to kind of like break down that material that was on there. If it's sticky, if it's like fake blood or something, just let it sit for a second, and then take your Kim wipe and then do the same thing and just kind of gently and slowly take away any material that's on there that's not that's sticky or whatever. And then you might have to do it more than once, especially if it's like fake blood or something, or mud, it could really get in there. So if there's mud, you definitely want to spray with this liquid, and then that way it takes the little grit and it lifts it off of the lens. And so, the liquid kind of lifts it off, and then you can kind of absorb it with the Kim wipe, and don't press down hard, and get the mud and the grit off. And then you can come back and then do a couple more, if you need to do a couple more cleanings with it, then you can get it nice and clean without scratching it. So cleaning filters is a little bit easier and pretty much the same, but like for instance, I have this Rotopolo here, and this is a 138 size filter. It's a circle filter. So what you want to do with the circle ones is kind of treat it the same as a lens, blow any dust off, and then spray your Kim wipe and kind of start in the middle in those circular motions, and then going outwards. And filters, if they get kind of dirty sometimes, so you can spray them directly. It's pretty easy. If it's a 4x5 filter, you don't necessarily have to do that circle motion. A lot of times just kind of take your Kim wipe that's already been sprayed, or just a little spritz, and just kind of wipe it down. But still be gentle, because you don't want to scratch them. You want to have a clean, clear image to your sensor, so whatever you're recording, you're getting the cleanest image. That pretty much does it for lens and filter cleaning. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see some more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. Please click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Going off walkie.